My story takes place on the night of March 8th, 2017. Me and my wife had just gotten home from dinner. I was getting ready to go to bed. She was in the restroom, and I hear her yell, "Oh shit! Baby, I think my water just broke." At this point, my wife is 9.5 months pregnant, and I'm really tired. So, in fact, we checked it out a little bit. It was her water. We got in the car, drove to the hospital, calling all our family members on the way. When we got to the hospital, they put us in a room called the triage room. In the triage room, they test to make sure it is actually her water breaking, and then they give her a huge-ass diaper to put on so she doesn't leak all over the floor. So after she put on her diaper and they confirmed that it was her water, we went to the delivery room. And there they hooked her up on Pitocin, which makes her contraction stronger, so the baby could come sooner. And then they gave her an epidural. I don't know if you're familiar with an epidural, but the needle's about this long, and it goes right into your spine and numbs you from the ribs down. It kind of freaked me out. She was okay, which is weird because she got the needle in her back. But after a while, the contractions got stronger and stronger, and they kept checking her dilation. So the magic number for dilation is 10 centimeters. And at 10 centimeters, the baby's ready to come out. She started at 3, and she went to 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9.5, and that's it. She stopped at 9.5. She was at 9.5 for about 5 hours. The doctor finally came in and said, "So you have a choice. We could either start pushing at 9.5, because you've been here for 24 hours already, and I'm sure you want to go home. Or, it could harm you and possibly harm the baby. Or we could just do an emergency C-section." So after a couple minutes of discussion, a lot of tears from my wife, a lot of nervousness from me, we decided that it'd probably be best to go with the safest route for the baby and just have the C-section. And we were dreading the C-section the whole pregnancy, but it came to the point that it was just better for the baby, so that's what we did. So they started prepping us, and they took her into the operating room to get her ready for surgery. They gave me a giant marshmallow suit. It's probably made for someone that was like 600 pounds or so. It was huge. And I got a mask and a hairnet, and I walked. The nurse walked me to outside of the operating room and said, "Stand by. We'll let you in when everything's all set up and ready to go." So it gave me a little time to call my dad and freak out a little bit, but still try to keep myself together since he just left and I didn't want him to come back down because he lived like 2 hours away. And what I didn't know was going on in the operating room was because my wife had been nauseous all night long, she couldn't keep down a purple liquid, they called it, that would stabilize her heartbeat. Since the anesthesia would lower it to the point that she would start to go in kind of like a shock, and it could be life-threatening. So she couldn't keep down the liquid, but they gave her the anesthesia anyway. And I guess she started feeling kind of faint. She looked at the doctor and was like, "I don't feel good." And she started like losing her size. She felt tingly. So they started calling codes all over the system. Code this, code that. And doctors came running into the operating room. And I was kind of around the corner, so I didn't really notice it. But I guess all those codes were for my wife that was going to die soon. But anyways, they fixed the problem. They put the liquid through her IV, and it was fine. So I went in there, and I guess they kind of forgot about me, because when I went in there, all the doctors were standing over her with sheets covering her stomach, and blood everywhere, so I guess they started without me. So I went in there, and I sat in a chair next to her head, which was covered off by a curtain, so we couldn't see what was going on. After a few minutes of their surgery, they said, "All right, congratulations, you have a healthy baby boy." And the doctor pulled down the sheet, the other doctor held up the baby, and we both went, "He's beautiful." And the sheet went back up, and I didn't see him for another half an hour. So they brought me back to the delivery room, and then they brought the baby, and he's great. They brought my wife back, and we finally got to hold him. And honestly, he's the best baby in the whole world. That's the story of the night my son was born.